Do you have a good vocabulary in English? In today's video, I'm going to teach you 15 words, and if you know these words, there's a very good chance your English is advanced at the C1 or C2 level. So stay tuned, watch this video, and even if you don't know these words, you're definitely going to learn some new vocabulary today. Now, the first word on our list is a verb, to alleviate. To alleviate. When you alleviate something, you reduce it. You make it less. You make it better. You make it less painful. Let's look at a couple examples. The medicine helped alleviate the pain in her back after the injury. It helped reduce the pain. It helped alleviate her pain. Regular exercise can alleviate symptoms of stress and anxiety. It can help them improve. It can alleviate them. To alleviate. Now, the next on our list is an adjective. Pragmatic. Pragmatic. You have this word in a lot of other languages as well, and it means realistic or practical. Pragmatic. For example, her pragmatic approach to problem solving made her an effective manager. It's good to be pragmatic. It means you are realistic, you are practical. You can solve problems very well. You're pragmatic. Sometimes it's important to be pragmatic in business. It's important to be practical, to be realistic, to be pragmatic. The next word on our list is meticulous. Repeat after me. Meticulous. When you are meticulous, it means you are very detailed. You pay attention to small details. You're meticulous. For example, the artist was meticulous in his work. He was very meticulous. He was detailed. He was detail-oriented. Meticulous. She was meticulous about keeping her desk organized. She was careful. She was precise. She paid attention to detail. She was meticulous. Meticulous. Next up, we have to be cognizant of something. To be cognizant. This is a good one. When you're cognizant of something, it just means you are aware of it. You know it's happening. You are cognizant of it. You are aware of it. For example, he was cognizant of the risks involved in the investment. He knew of the risks. He was cognizant of the risks. As a teacher, it's important to be cognizant of your students' needs. Cognizant. To be aware of something. To be cognizant of it. And number 5, we have resilient. Resilient. When you're resilient, it means you are able to bounce back from problems. If something bad happens to you, you can recover pretty quickly. You're able to bounce back. You're resilient. Another adjective. For example, despite the hardships, she was resilient and bounced back stronger than before. The resilient community rebuilt their homes after the devastating flood. They were resilient. They rebuilt their homes after they were destroyed. Resilient. Number 6 is avid. Avid. When you are avid about something, it means you're very interested in it. You're keen on it. You're enthusiastic. You're passionate. You're avid. For example, he's an avid reader. He loves to read. He's an avid reader. She is an avid traveler. She loves to travel. She's an avid traveler. She's avid. And number 7 on our list is the word innocuous. It's a bit hard to pronounce. So repeat after me. Innocuous. 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 Something innocuous is harmless. It can't hurt you. It's innocuous. For example, the innocuous question was meant to be lighthearted, but it was misinterpreted. The question was not designed to hurt people. It was innocuous, but unfortunately it was misinterpreted. The joke was innocuous, but it still caused some people to feel uncomfortable. It was designed not to offend anybody. It was an innocuous joke, but unfortunately some people still felt uncomfortable. Maybe not so innocuous after all. If you're enjoying this lesson, make sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments how many words you know so far. If you want to improve your English this year, make sure to subscribe to English at the Ready here on YouTube. Click the subscribe button below and make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any future lessons. I really want to help you improve your English. And if you want to study with me or you want to check out our programs, click the link in the description below to learn more about how we can help. Let's get back into the video. Let's continue learning some new vocabulary, testing your knowledge, and let's see how many of the next words on our list you know. Ambivalent. Ambivalent. When you are ambivalent about something, you have mixed feelings. You have mixed feelings. You're not sure about something. You're ambivalent. For example, she was ambivalent about moving to a new city. She was excited about the opportunity, but sad to leave home. She was ambivalent. He felt ambivalent about his promotion, unsure whether he wanted the added responsibility. He got promoted. That's great. Obviously, he's going to make more money. That's a positive thing, but now he has more responsibility. He was ambivalent about it because he didn't know whether that was something he wanted or didn't want. Ambivalent. And next we have sporadic. Sporadic. Sporadic means occurring at irregular intervals. So not something that happens every week or every day. Maybe once this week, once next week, but then again in a month. Something that is not regular. It only happens occasionally. We could say it's sporadic. For example, the rain was sporadic throughout the day, making it hard to plan outdoor activities. It wasn't predictable. It was sporadic. His attendance at work meetings was sporadic. It wasn't regular. It was sporadic. Something that doesn't happen regularly, something that doesn't happen continuously. Number 11, we have the word plausible. Repeat after me, plausible. Plausible. When something is plausible, it means it makes sense. It's likely to happen. It's a likely explanation. It's plausible. For example, the detective presented a plausible explanation for the crime. A possible or a likely explanation. Her story seemed plausible but there were a few details that didn't add up. It was plausible, it was likely, but something didn't add up. Plausible. Next up, we have the word viable. Viable. When something is viable, it's possible. It's capable of working successfully or being accomplished. It's viable. For example, the company is exploring viable solutions to reduce costs. They're looking at possible solutions that would help reduce cost. They're looking at viable solutions. While the idea sounded great, the project was not viable due to lack of funding. They couldn't get the money for the project. It wasn't viable. It wasn't possible. Viable. Number 13 is a noun. Sycophant. Sycophant. A sycophant is somebody who is always complimenting somebody else, normally in a position of power. They're flattering them. They're trying to get something from them. For example, the CEO surrounded himself with sycophants who never dared to criticize him. He surrounded himself with people that always told him what he wanted to hear. Sycophants. They never criticized him. They were always complimenting him and flattering him. They were sycophants. Her sycophantic behavior towards the boss was obvious to everyone in the office. She was always complimenting or flattering or trying to win the favor of her boss, probably so she could get a promotion. She was behaving in a sycophantic way. You can also use it as an adjective. Again, sycophant is somebody who is trying to compliment or flatter somebody so they themselves can get an advantage. They can get something from the other person. Next up, we have a phrase, to have an epiphany. To have an epiphany. This just means to have a sudden realization, a light bulb moment. I'm sure you've experienced this before. I know I have. When you suddenly realize something or something makes sense. You say, aha, I understand now. I had an epiphany. For example, after hours of consideration, he had an epiphany that changed the course of his career. He realized something about his career. Something came to mind suddenly. He had an epiphany. She had an epiphany about her future and decided to go back to school. She had a sudden realization. She had an epiphany. And lastly, we have the adjective nefarious. Nefarious. When something is nefarious, it's evil. It's criminal. It's amoral. It's nefarious. For example, the nefarious plan to hack the company's servers was stopped by the cybersecurity team. It was an evil plan. It was a nefarious plan. His nefarious actions were eventually exposed, and he faced serious consequences. His criminal, his evil, his corrupt, his amoral actions, his nefarious actions. Nefarious. So, tell me in the comments, how many of these words did you actually know? How many of these words were new to you? Which is your favorite word? Do you think you're going to use any of these words in conversation? Let me know in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe to English at the Ready here on YouTube. Turn on notifications, click the bell button so you don't miss any future lessons from me. If you want to study with me and my amazing team of expert teachers, click the link in the description below to learn more about our programs and about how we can help you improve your English this year. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you learned some new vocabulary, and I'll see you in the next class.